We're actually going to start in the same position. So just the feet, the position we kind of tend to rush. We tend to really go straight into the first suburi or something like this. I want you to just feel the whole body down. The heels are kind of touching here, and the feet just splayed slightly back. And again, just feel the whole body, feel the weight down, and the body nice and stacked into the ground. In this case, you've got something different. You've got the sword just on the left side, and just feel what kind of effect that has on the body. Whether it's kind of starting to take you over, or the weight shifting into one foot. Just feel the whole body extended, and just gonna include the bokken in this position now. Just take a few moments, just feel the body. Feel the weight of the bokken. And then slowly start to come out into kamae. So bringing the right foot forward and just into the kamae. And again, we tend to rush the kamae position. So we're going to spend a little bit of time in the kamae. I just want you to feel the position. And again, try and get comfortable in it. This should be a position you can feel totally at ease with. And again, just really be aware now of the sword, the weight of it in the hands, what it's doing to the body. Really feel any tension in the body and try and really release it and sink more into the body. And what you're really working on is including the bokken in the posture. You should feel totally in connection with the rest of the body. Through the hands. Just take a few moments here and just feel it. Let me just see. Okay. No, good. And one really basic technical point is that we don't work with the sword in a flat kamae. So really allow the sword to follow the hip this way. So you're slightly wedged off with the sword. Is it a slight wedge in the body? Basically, it's just following the hips. So because we don't work with a kind of frontal kamae, with the hips kind of square, we work really in a hami with the hips triangulated. Really allow the sword to follow this position. Just that. Okay. And really, one thing that gets mistaken in extension work is stretching. It's actually in one of the definitions of extension is actually stretching out. But in our case, the feelings of including connecting and not of stretching out. So really feel the difference between you can stretch the body out and really feel what effect this has. The arms are stretched out, the bokken's really out of the structure, and you'll feel the spine starts to really go into tension. The back of the neck and the lower back really starts going to tension. This is where you kind of develop these habits to kind of press the backside out, or really start to kind of bend the knees in a way to compensate. But really just get a sense the knees are flexible, the arms are extended but not stretched out. The shoulders back, sitting back into the body, and the knees flexible. They should really have a sense of flexibility in them. So they're not locked tight and they're not really just bent. So really just get a sense that the knees flexible, like springy. This kind of sense. Good. And then from this position, I just want you to start to move and just keep the right side of the body forward. So keeping the right hip dominant and just come into movement nice and slowly. Similar to what we did before, but just nice and slow with the feet, and just keep the right side forward. However you move, just keep the right dominant. And just really feel the connection to the sword. Slow, nice and easy. Nothing too challenging, but just feel the weight of the sword, the extension out. Really try and include the feeling of the body out into the sword. If the feeling is that the sword is being held by the hips, as the hips move, they're really like the feelings the hips are carrying the sword. Yeah. Right. And in this case, just start to shift the posture. So shifting from right hip to left hip. And again, just feel different in the sides. Because we work in an asymmetrical grip, we always keep the right hand on top, the left hand below. Really feel what difference it makes, going from the left side to the right side. Just moving, nice and easy, connecting. All the time, the feeling of the center connecting out through the tip of the sword. In the relationship with the ground. The length through the spine, the width through the arms, the shoulders, keeping everything full, total. Yeah, not so easy. Okay. Okay, good. And the main area in terms of extension work, if you think of the opposite of extension is contraction. So what I don't want to work with in this case is in a contracted state this way, which is basically like this. There's no real extension in this. So the arms are supported strong, but there's no sense of extension. The real point of this is extension out. So a real sense of strong extension out without stretching, pulling the shoulders forward. So really get a sense, if I'm working in contraction, is like this. It's very tight, feels very hard, heavy. But when I want something flexible and extended out. So really start to work now with a bit more fluid motion and really get a sense that the sword is extended out from the body, but really grounded in the lower back, the hips, and the work in the feet grounded. Just start to connect it. And the arms should be flexible. They shouldn't be tight. Just extended out. Start to move a little bit more. Really start to feel the extension. And the extension doesn't go, never goes away. Once you're in the kamae, extension's on all the time. And now you're moving a little bit more flexibly. Be really clear about the connection between the sword, the tip of the sword, and the hips. So really get a sense that the hips are the director of the sword. We always get into the feeling that the hands are going to move. The hands are moving. But really get a sense that give the movement of the hands to the hips. And then the movement of the sword will be determined by the hip work. So really give the sword work to the hips. And the work of the hips is being based by the grounding in the base of the feet. So really get a sense of this connection to the hips. Start to challenge movements a little bit more. But just working in the kamae. That's it. Very good.
Michael, at the end of each move, are we supposed to be going back into the triangle sense?
Yeah. In this case, try and keep as much as you can. Keep a kind of hammy. So basically, keep all the time a sense of one hip dominating, or one hip being kind of extended forward. So always keeping this sense. Yeah. Okay. Now, the longer you do this, if I'm working in a kind of contracted state, it starts to pull me out now. So it really starts to pull me out upper body, and I'm pulled out of the ground just by doing this kind of exercise. So really now try and feel that the back of the body is the thing that's going to motivate the whole movement. So just kind of get into a position now, go from a still position, and just get a sense of the back, the ground, and then move from it, and then find a new position here. And you can go forwards, backwards, sideways, but get a position that you're going to ground the extension, and then get a sense of the back. So find a position and then just back of the body down. So really think back and down, not front and forward. So Really try and balance the feeling of extension out with really a sense of sinking down and grounding the movement in the back of the body, or basing the movement in the back. So go from a still position now into a movement. Really feel the back activates and presses forward. The back activates and presses back. Also in the rotations, the same feeling. From a still position, really ground, drain, sink the feeling, and then press it in. Yeah. All the while keeping the extension strong and out. Good. Good. Okay, we've got some movement. So first suburi. So get a sense of the kamae. What I want you to do is really slowly just find the back, find the cutting position, and then return to the kamae each time. So just do one at a time. Really cutting down and find the back. Just in your own time. From the kamae, find the back fully, and then fully into the cut. And back into the kamae. And back. Nice. Okay, so we'll just start with some work in the hand. So in this case, you've got to just really feel the difference in the grip in the hand. So when you're in the kamae, you're in a loose position, the grip's sealed, and you're in this kind of position. So I want really the top of the hand right on top of the bokken this way. And then the fingers from the small finger to the top finger, grabbing strongly here. And the front two fingers nice and loose. So this feeling is the connected, but not rigid. So it's not, this case, strong, but it's connected and feeling like this. Now, as you go into movement, as you go into the raise of the sword, the hands are really going to soften. So the hands are really going to loosen on the grip. And this really allows me to find the back here. So as the sword's in motion in the raise, the hands are nice and soft. And they stay soft just until the grip this way. And then the grip is really strong and full here. So get a sense of these three stages in the hand work. It's soft and sealed, but not rigid. And then as you go into movement, it's not rigid where it forces the shoulders and everything to kind of crunch and work in contraction, but really feel that as the sword goes into motion, it's soft. And as you find the cut really strongly squeezing into the grip this way. So really get a sense, just these three states: connected, soft, and really strongly into the grip this way. So really three postures and three different kinds of handwork. Just try and link them. Okay, we'll kind of work down the body. Now just go to the neck. Just really watch this, especially in this first position when you raise the sword. Watch this kind of crunching in the body this way. This is where I've lost any sense of extension. Now the cut's automatically going to be in the front of the body. So really got to get the feeling that when you raise the sword, keep this extension up. The feeling's really like a column all the way up through the back of the spine. And you're really using this motion to find the back, to really find this state of a kind of column through the body. Any kind of contraction here with the body will just automatically pull you out. Hello. So you're going to really find this state here. The bokken right on the spine, and then really opened out. Extension through the lower, through the back of the neck, and right up through the crown of the body. And then when you find the cut, see if you can maintain that sense of extension up. So really get a sense of this column, and then press this all forward with no sense of contraction at all. It's all extension work. So all extended all the time, without going into contraction and then pushing forward. So get a sense really back, the ground, and then press this all through. Full extension up as you do it, especially the head. Nice. Yeah, that's it. Good, 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 good. Nice. Good. Okay, good. Then we'll go to basically the shoulder area. So when you find this position in the kamae, I want you to really focus on a sense of width out through the shoulders. So we have a real tendency to come into the kamae and kind of crunch again, working contraction forward with the shoulder blades are actually in this kind of position. Get a sense of width right the way across the shoulders. So right across here. Really get a sense of this, left, right, fully through. Now as you find this position, try and keep this sense of width all the way. And in the cut, try and include a sense of width through the body. We have a real tendency to push the right side forward and do this kind of work this way. And basically the left side's crunching forward and the right side's pushing out. This is really exaggerated, but it's got this kind of sense. This kind of sense. So really keep a sense of width through the shoulders, right and left side, and press this forward. Press this forward. So allow the hip to rotate. The hip hinges, but the shoulders don't really add anything to it. They don't really crunch and add. They just open and stay wide. Open and stay wide. So just focus now on the shoulder area. This whole area of the shoulder blades and the front of the chest. Keep it full and wide in all directions. Full wide. Full and wide. Good. That's it. Nice. Yeah.
Michael,
Yeah.
are your shoulders square on when you do the strike?
Square on. This way.
Are they?
This way.
Hang on. Yeah, when I'm doing it like this, is my shoulder like?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let the shoulder. Basically, the shoulder's not going to stay this way. It's not going to stay in this kind of position. This is also distorting the fall. So I'm going to allow the shoulders to roll with the hips this way.
Oh, okay.
You've got this position. So one shoulder goes forward, but the key point is that it doesn't push forward. So the shoulders, the arm doesn't push forward. It stays in structure, and basically follows the hip.
Okay.
Follows the hip, but you are going to kind of tilt the shoulders.
All right. Thank you.
Back. Yeah, that's it. Good, good, good. 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 Okay, good. We're going to move down to the hips. I want you to do something kind of bad. This is against it. What I want you to do is really stiffen the hips, make them hard. And you can do it, just touch here and really make it strong. You should feel like a really hard piece of tendon. Yeah. So really stiffen the hips up and then try and make the cut. So the cut with a stiff hip basically does this. So what happens is that the back of the body has to press out and the shoulders have to rotate over to make the cut, to compensate the weight of the sword. So the hips are fixed heavy, you'll get this kind of cut. This feels totally uncomfortable. So just try a few, really with a sense of stiffness through the hip. A lot of us are really stiff in the hips already, so this is kind of maybe a bit hard, but get a sense of really fix the hips, make them strong so that they can't tilt. And then basically what happens is the butt sticks out and then the chest comes forward. So just try this. Just do a few. So it feels very strange. And really try and fix it. Good. Good. Yeah, good. Okay, good. And now what I want you to do is really soften the hip. So when you come to this position, just without the sword, I want you to feel that as you come in, the hip can flex. The hip can flex this way. So feel that the difference between a stiff hip, which is basically like this, and really a sense that the hip is soft and can really flex through the pelvis. Flex through the pelvis here. And this allows me to really keep the extension in the upper body whilst really entering into the cut. So I don't want the hip to do nothing and just kind of press down this kind of way. So I want the hip to be really active. I want the whole body to swing and follow into the cut, but I want to maintain a good sense of balance through it. That means the hip needs to flex and open this way. Hip needs to flex and open. So just now do it with a sense of really, especially the front hip, really flex it, flex it, flex it. Whilst keeping all these points in mind. So the neck, the shoulders, the grip in the hands, really keep these active, but just focusing now on the hip flexion this way, and then allow the body to really find a sense of balance through the weight, through the cut. That's it. Good. Nice. Great. Okay. Well, we'll do one more point with the hips. Really also keep them mobile. So it's a kind of related to the last point, but I don't want to just kind of shift down into the cut. So it's not just a downwards movement. This is really also the point of the extension work, that it's down and out this way. So keep the hips flexible, or keep the hips mobile through the cut. So the hips are really going to move. The front and the back hip move. So really allow also now feel that the back hip is going to press in as well this way. What I want to do is just that, this down. So I have a sense really of grounding down solid, but I have no real sense of out and extension. So try and match the movement forward with the hips. So keep the hip mobile, especially the back hip also is going to press in. So there's really a change in the hip. This pressing forward, this pressing forward. So stay flexible in the hip, keep them mobile, and pressing forward, forward, forward. Really get the sense that it's coming from the back also. Okay, try. So mobilize the hips. Yeah, good. Yeah, okay, good. Good. Nice. Good. Okay, and then down. Last point, we go to the knees. So hopefully, if everything's in place, the hips are flexing and all this extension through, the knees should kind of fall in. Sometimes they kind of fall out as well, but we'll just look at them. I really get the sense the knees are going to spread towards the feet this way. So I just want this connection that the hip, the knee to the foot is always going to be kind of one line. I never really want to break that line. So especially now, pay attention to the back knee. There's always a kind of tendency to twist this out, twist the knee out and break the structure. So you'll find this kind of movement this way. And this is really out of the structure. This is breaking the structure. So get a sense that the back knee is going to spread towards the foot. So it's going to really spread towards the foot. And the majority of the weight is pressing towards the heel. So feel the weight of the body sinking towards the heel and then out through the toes. Sink towards the heel. So get a sense really the knee flexes without breaking the structure this way. Especially the back knee. Just really focus on it. Allow it to sink into the foot. Sink into the foot. Sink into the foot. So there's this feeling of spreading through from the hips into the knees and then out through the feet into the ground. Good. Okay. Good, very nice. Okay, good. We're going to go into Zengo Giri now. So keeping all those points in mind, find the same position. The first one on the right side, and then releasing through, find the rotation, cut to the back. So release each time, find the top of the head, and cut on the left side. So now cutting left and right, really feeling the grounded, extended, and open. Ground, extend, open. This way. Good. Okay, good. And the same sense, when the sword's in motion, keep the grip loose, keep it relaxed. So if my grip's too tight, as I roll through the hips, it twists the body up, goes this way. Just have to twist out of the structure this way. If the grip's too tight, as I rotate, will pull me out of the structure. And what I need to do especially during a rotation, is sink down. So really get a sense that what I need to do is release the grip, the sword, this way. So you go from movement, release, and then come into a full grip here. So as the sword's in motion, it's relaxed in the grip. Relaxed in the grip. The moment I go to tension, it starts to do this, pull me up and out of the ground. When I only sink, especially in the rotation, sink down. Sink down. Allow the sword to just follow the hips, release the grip. Release, loosen, find the cut. Release, find the cut. Release, find the cut. You got this kind of scissoring action happening through the hands. Release, strike, release, strike. Really make a full extended cut at the end. So as long as the sword's in motion, the hand's quite relaxed. Good. Good, good, good. 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 Okay, we're just going to work with a Yokomanuchi strike. So just starting right side forward. I just want to make one cut. So one step, one cut. And really working with the Yokomen this way. And then come back into the right side. So really clearing the kamae, extend it out. And then really press everything forward. And find the Yokomen this way. So just one cut. Find the balance, nice and grounded, extend it out. And then just move into the cut. And then come back. So just one cut each time. One cut, one step. Okay, nice and easy in your own time. Give it a try. Just working with a Yokomen. Extend it out. Press down. Good. Nice.
Michael,
Yeah.
sorry, could you just elaborate on that?
Oh, I'm lost you. Say again, nice and slow. Oh, I've lost you. Oh, I can't hear a word. Uh-oh.
Can you hear me now, Michael?
Yeah, I got you. Good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you just show again about the Yokomen cut? Is the hips that's moving slightly,
Yeah, I'm gonna.
rolling slightly more?
Yeah, good. I'm gonna slightly open the hips out. So let's watch this. So when you're doing the showman, basically the hips are like this position, this position, this position, and then when I find the Yokon, I'm gonna slightly open up the back hip this way. This way. You're working in this position. Yeah. So slightly open the back hip a little bit more. Got a bit more a sense of opening the back hip. So the showman like this, and then yeah, just opening the back hip a little bit more. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
This way. Good.
Michael,
Yeah,
can you please, referring to that question,
sure.
stance between the shomanuch and the yokomanuch, can you please show how if you're standing stationary, how's the hips here compared to a yokoman?
Yeah.
Swap between those two, just stationary?
Yeah, sure. It's actually best done without the sword. So I show, like, if you think of in terms of Taina Henko, this way. This is really like using the hips like Shomanuchi, this way, this way. So the hips just spreading down, this way. And then in terms of Yokomanuchi works a bit more like when we use this kokyu work, this way. And the back hip's going to open out and spread this way, this way. So you've got this difference between this where the hips basically just pressing forward down, forward down, this way. And then when you're using Yokomanuchi, it's a bit more like this. The hips are a bit more open, So the back hip starts to open out this way, this way. So in terms of the sword work, then the shomenuchi is really just the hips pressing forward and down, forward and down. And in terms of the yokomen work, slightly opening the back hip out this way. Opening the back hip out. Opening the back hip out this way. So it's a little bit more this, that way. Yeah. Which is basically allowing the power of the sword to go through this line. This line. Whereas in shomenuchi, just this line. This line. This line. That way. That makes sense? Hopefully.
Yeah, so actually that was the answer I was seeking for. If I understand correct, it's like if you're doing like the shomenuchi, you're still spreading the hips, but the sensation of pressing a bit forward.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's basically just, it's how I want to press the. Later we go next into like power or generating power or pressing power through. If you think in terms of functionality, with the shomenuchi, just vertical down, go down and out. But in terms of the yokomen, I'm pressing something that's going to start to enter a bit more into a spiral work.
Yeah.
So the back hip needs to accommodate that force or the use of the arms in that case.
Yeah. So in order to get that sensation, you need to open your hips a little bit more wider and pressing a little bit more down instead of a little bit more forward.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to kind of spread out. So the feeling in the hips is spreading out this way, that way.
And a bit more downwards, I guess.
A bit more down, more like entering into a spiral.
Yeah.
This way.
Yeah.
This way, this way.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
That makes total sense.
Good. Good. Okay, last movement we'll do. So this is 1, Zengogiri. Number 5, Yokomenuchi. And in this case, we'll look at 7. So just nice and easy, we go to this position. From here, 1 movement. Jodan Kamai here, and then finding the cut, and then finding the thrust. Just take it nice and slow. Just 1 cut, 1 thrust. So from this Kamai, feel that you can just roll back, raise the sword. Press this forward into the yokomen, and then pressing in to the ski. Just 1 cut, 1 thrust. Roll back. Press in, thrust out. Okay, give it a try. These are the 3 kind of fundamental cuts we use. Fundamental movements. 1, 5, 7. Good. Good. Okay, good. And then this, again, this connection to the ground. So it's really clear here. If the hip's stiff, if I'm really in the front, then I'll kind of fall forward into the strike, into the ski. So I really get a sense that you're going to sink down, open the hip, and curl through it. So it's really a spiral motion now. So you're working with a very clear sense of the center spiraling through and pressing out. So it all happens about really I need a really clear connection to the ground. Yeah, and then from this connection, just coil, spiral in. And the sword, just allow it to follow. Coil in, follow. So you can do this really slow. Just find the yokomen, find the ground, and then just release through the hips. This way. And that release, this draining down, will really create weight through the body. So press the weight through and then come through into the thrust. The moment I lose, I go over the hip and then I press out. I basically fall through the movement. So get a sense of pressing through the ground, down and out all the time. So find the cut, sink the weight through the ground, and then press it out. Okay, give it a try. So really ground the movement. Spiral through the hip, press it out. Little Bernie. Good. Very nice. That's it. Great. Very nice. And also really make a distinction between stretching, pushing, and connecting, extending. This is really the key difference. So cut down. If I'm working really in contraction, pushing, it looks like this. And I basically push out. I contract, push out. If I'm really working with a sense of extension, connection, we'll just kind of spring into it. So the arms are flexible. Just connect them to the hip and then press them out. Really be careful of working in this kind of area. Just kind of pushing work. Really work with spiral force, extension out this way. So it's a good strong extension, but really without pushing this way. Just coiling through the spine, coiling through the movement. Okay, give it a try. And the key with extension connection work is it never goes away. It's always kind of on. It's always full. You're just connecting through the body in a different way in this case. Good. Yeah, good. Yeah. Hey. Oh.
Michael, my right hand at the end.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Where are we? Where are you?
Hi.
Where are you?
In place.
Oh, got you.
Hi. So when I'm doing the spiral step forward,
Yes.
does it kind of come round? Does the index finger go on the top, or does it stay around there somewhere?
Yeah, but good. Let's see. Good. I basically, in this case, keep the hand as it is. So in this position, just coil it through this way. So I'm in this kind of position on the sword. The key hand in this case is that is still the left hand. So allow the right just to follow that movement. But I don't in this case adjust it. So don't adjust it by twisting it or doing anything like this. Just keep this relationship basically on top here, this position. As you transition from the cut to the thrust, just allow it to coil with the sword this way. Yeah.
I'm not pointing finger down the sword or anything.
No, yeah, I don't. If you think in terms of this one, it's just going to come in one move, in one motion. So the cut thrust, and in that case, the hand's just going to stay as it is, this way, right through.
Michael?
Yeah.
It was yokomenuchi, yeah?
Yeah, in this case, do a yoke. Yeah.
So going into a spiral one direction and then using that same energy to go into the thrust, or not? You're not deflecting the spiral.
No, in this case, you're one spiral, one way.
So if you go back in your first session with the figure of 8 hips.
Ah, yeah, this.
Is that the feeling that you should get?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I got you. Understood. Yeah, you're gonna basically curl the hip. So you're gonna do this motion through the hip.
Yeah.
This and press.
And then in
This way. Yeah. So the first movement, yeah, you're gonna kind of curl the hip this way, and then from here, curl it back this way.
Like this, and then that.
Exactly like this. Yeah, exactly like this. So this is basically you want to keep the pelvis mobile.
Yeah.
Just kind of feel it. So all these exercises in terms of mobilizing the hip is also is to feel the flexibility in the hip, and that I can move it, in a way that's going to really allow the body to work in spirals. This way.
Yeah.
So it's called intense. Yeah. So working with two basically, one kind of short spiral, and then the second really.
Yeah.
The second one's really like a coiling spiral through forward. Yeah. Good.
Michael.
Yeah.
Can I just ask about the you call this a thrust, right? How far away do you have it? I mean, is it like quite close to your body, or do you? Hang on a sec.
I'm gonna show.
Like that? Is it too far forward?
It's a little bit stretching. So It's again, it's a kind of natural extension this way. So you cut through and then cut through here. So the right arm's really in full extension. So not stretched out, not straight pushing out, but a sense of extension through the body this way. But also I don't want to clamp it to the body this way. This way. This is really feels so tight. So get a sense of full extension out. This way, this way. This sense of coiling out. That makes sense. You're basically going to work in full extension without pushing the shoulder out. So just get a sense of coiling through it this way. Just going to wind through the extension this way.
And when you finish, is the feeling or the intention to ground yourself, and then is your intention then in the thrust, or is it grounding and thrust?
Yeah, both. Yeah. I want to go down and out this way.
Down and out.
So really a strong sense of the ground and pressing out this way. This. Yeah, this movement's quite challenging because more than the cuts, because the cuts are really impacting into the ground anyway. And in this case, the impact is coming out of the body. This is why this movement's so difficult, in a sense, to really ground and be balanced and heavy and effective.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that.
Okay, good. Again, just the last minute or so, just cut freely. So you can use any cut you like, but basically the main are the shomanuchi, yokomanuchi, and the ski movements. So just really mix them in and just ground each cut. So make them really heavy and allow the sword just to follow the body. Pressing in. Cut freely anywhere you like, using shoman, yokomen, slicing movements, really anything you like. Just ground each movement and then go into the next one. So just cut freely, thrust. Really strong sense of extension and ground. So calm, connected, but really strong and heavy. Daddy. Okay, good. And last 30 seconds. I want you to go now from a position of a kamae, but a moving. So flexible, kind of where we started. And then just get a feeling you can make one attack strongly into the ground and then release it back into the kamae, back into movement. So flexible, connected to the ground, and then just a sense of striking down into the ground. And then coming back into the kamae. So you can do one cut or a couple of cuts, but just get the sense of flexible, connected, the sword, the body, all working together. And just find a movement. And then come out of it. All the time, weight down, sinking down. Right. Right. Okay, good. So we'll stop there. Domo, arigato. Okay, good. We've gone way over.